Vote, but I do respect you for abstaining. You legally can. Buildings, property, and cemetery. Getting on with our agenda. Mr. Green, recommendations from buildings and property and cemetery. There's several.
We were approached about the cost of updating and repairing bathrooms in the Armory, and we heard from Andre $1,500 in costs, and I had a little humor about the $800 job that turned into, I mean, the $8 wax seal turned into an $8,000 job in my bathroom, first house I owned on Forest Drive here. But anyway, Walter Mack Osborne is going to talk to his Armory committee and get back to us. So there's no recommendations at this time. We are long past overdue, and I hold myself responsible for not pursuing new cemetery policies. Town manager is going to provide the committee with new policy and give us a couple of weeks, and we'll meet again, and we'll be glad to take that other issue up too.
Very good.
The committee has recommended that an invoice be sent to Mr. Joe McMillan for repair work in the cemetery. And I'll let the town manager explain. This is kind of since the 8th, it's changed dramatically.
And just before you get to explain, I spoke with Mr. McMillan at length Friday, and I did tell him I would ask, he wants to be heard. I would ask council to listen to Mr. Norbeck, and I think I would ask that you give Mr. Norbeck Mr. McMillan a chance to be heard either in writing before you make a vote tonight. But go ahead and tell us what happened. I have no sides.
Weather. And Latham Toth came to see me today. It's very wet weather. Admittedly, it was a bad situation. They dug the grave for Mr. Davis.
Yes, Eddie Davis.
While doing so, they made just a tremendous mess. Intentionally, no, but a mess nonetheless. The family was highly unhappy during the course of the weekend. And Monday morning, I asked David to go ahead and get the guys to go in there and get it dressed up to satisfy the family. We did so. It cost $114 of our labor to go in there and do it. It wasn't a tragedy. But if we were able to do it Monday morning, I'm sure Mr. McMillan and his staff could have done it as well on Monday. Lathan said, well, I got there on Monday afternoon, you'd already done it. But I don't think that really mattered to the Davis family at a time of grief and a client of Mr. McMillan. So we took care of it. $114 invoice was prepared. But I think we need to think carefully and clearly about what we do in the cemetery. And if you follow Juanita around during the course of the day, this is not isolated incident. I can't say, Latham, we've had any problems and specifics and that kind of thing. But we need to take these standards and these policies, and if we follow them, there's going to be some very unhappy people with the cemetery.
Oh, with the flowers and all that stuff.
We're particularly nice to folks with this cemetery. The families that come to us and put up statues and flags and all these other things, Gwyneth does an unenviable job of trying to weigh the balance of a grieving family, at the same time apply the standards of a policy as much as possible. We bend over backwards to help folks cut grass for things, but when poor situation and an extremely agitated family are mixed, we're going to resolve the matter, and we need to resolve it. And I got calls during the course of the weekend. David got calls during the course of the weekend. Everybody did about what had happened. Plywood can be put down. I offered to Latham that we'll provide the plywood if it's a problem. We'll do whatever it takes not to face this situation again. It's not the first conflict, but it is certainly what we hope will be the start of fewer conflicts.
My only question, and again, I'm not lobbying for Mr. McMillan. I'm just conveying to you what was conveyed to me. Before we went out, did anyone alert Mr. McMillan, this was not up to standard, we're going to go and fix the mess?
We wouldn't fix it.
Okay.
But they knew it was a mess.
He read aloud to me text messages between the family and him. And
did he get a text message from the family as well?
I mean, what he read to me was very harmonious, and they were appreciative of him agreeing to go.
Very nice, yeah. But we did the work. It wasn't Mr. McMillan to resolve
the
matter.
Well, again, all I can tell you is Mr. McMillan would like to be heard before council votes on the bill. He cannot make the meeting tonight. I told him about the meeting tonight, and I just told him I would pass that along. Council, y'all can do what you wish. I just think it's probably, we charge people perpetual care for the cemetery. And I think we do a great job monitoring, record keeping, like I said, having flexibility between grief and policy. I do think if, he says that he has numerous times fixed other graves that he had nothing to do with. So I think I look at the undertakers as sort of the morticians, sort of they're like partners with
Mr.
us.
Toth came to me and he said, well, I settled graves, I go back and fix them. We're supposed to.
Right.
It is their responsibility, if they haven't backfilled a grave, or if they have backfilled a grave, and it settles 2 months, 3 months.
Or it rains hard and it's, rains
It's their
hard.
responsibility to do that.
Is that clear in our policy?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
I mean, to be honest, $114, I don't see why they're complaining so much simply
It's
because.
like Latham came to me today, and
It's
when
not
we
the
spoke,
money.
he said, well, Joe said I don't have to go back and work on these graves after 6 months.
I'm not, please, I want the record to show, I'm not rebutting anything you're telling me. I think in Blackstone, Virginia, though, we're gonna,
We want harm.
the funeral home business is very sensitive, and I think he's very sensitive about his reputation. And I think we need to be very careful if we're gonna blind somebody. It's not the dollar amount that bothered him. He was concerned that his business was discussed publicly before he had a chance to even say, look, let me tell you my side. I was, late.
Multiple text messages during the weekend
Again,
indicated
I'm not
we needed
disputing
to
that. I just think
help
that
the
we need to be
family.
sensitive on how we deal with people, especially in that line of work. People are
That's
really.
true, but we also have a town manager and we have a policy set by the council.
Absolutely.
So.
He would like, and
so-
Mr. McMillan would like a copy of the policy. He said he has not received an updated copy.
There's a copy on the internet. I mean,
Okay,
he can pull it off the
okay,
internet. The
okay.
existing policy is on the town's website. He can pull it down anytime.
I just like to, I think we can smooth this over and go and move forward together with a greater
I make
understanding.
a motion to table it till next month and give Mr. McMillan an opportunity to be present at the next council meeting
Thank you.
to plead his case.
Very good. Mr. Green,
Second.
Mr. Green
But
has moved.
I applaud the town for fixing it immediately.
I do too.
Mr. Green has moved, and Mr. Nash has seconded to give Mr. McMillan 30 days on the
Well, the
invoice
next council meeting.
to appear at the next council meeting. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. Moving on.
Bringing back an issue that was uncomfortable, was the Atkins family where there was a dispute about where the body was laid. The committee discussed it at great length, and we recommend, that the Atkins family's attorney draft an agreement to hold the town harmless, but that the town assist the family in moving the body at no charge with help from David Ostrander. And as long as we get a release from the family in conjunction with the vault and have a family member present when moving the body. Also, Councilman Hamner has offered his services as a funeral director for no fee.
Okay,
And
this is-
I offer that in the form of a motion.
all right, and this is the Atkins family. It's AD, just to be clear. It's the relatives of the late Doug Atkins. Mr. Green has made a motion to contact, we're going to contact their attorney, Brody Reed.
I don't think
Tessie?
we need to. I think that the intention is provide us with an agreement that would be satisfactory to Tessie.
Okay.
And maybe satisfactory to the council. And if both parties can come together in agreement as a matter of satisfying the.
I applaud
the
this.
situation.
This is not something the town has to do, correct?
No,
This
not
is
at all.
something that we're offering.
No.
It's to put a final chapter on something that was most unpleasant, and I think it's a very magnanimous gesture of the town. I applaud the motion. It's been seconded by Mr. Moncure. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it 7-0.
For some reason or another, the Sea Park religious symbol was on the agenda, and the committee voted 3-0 to table it. So there'll be no report. We had a request for some public restrooms downtown, and this is not correct. It says the committee recommend, oh, it is correct. The committee, I read it somewhere else, I think it said that the committee denied the request, but I see this is correct. The committee recommends that we deny any request to get in the bathroom business downtown.
No public potties downtown.
Kinda clean
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Second.
Mr. Nash is seconding the motion. Any further discussion about this important motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Green. A very thorough report that ran the gamut tonight. Next, we have a consent agenda, the Intermediate Field School Day, Heritage Hall Senior Olympics, rather routine.
Move to approve.
Mr. Scott is seconding Mr. Green's motion. This, in case y'all wondering, the intermediate school will have field day at the stadium on the May 24th, which is a week from today, a week from Wednesday. And Senior Olympics, we close 6th Street to accommodate Heritage Hall. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Getting into unfinished business, we have a burn policy for the removal of derelict structures. We burned quite a few since you've been here.
We have. Very quickly, this is the same policy that was provided to you, I don't know, a couple months ago. And you asked if Tessie could give it a review. If you look in the policy before you, there are two items in italics. And those were the additions that were provided by Tessie. And,
It's not in the book.
Sheet.
no, I think it's handed out separately, yeah.
It's in all the.
Basically, what this does is follows the same process of what we've been doing and allows the town to collect as a lien. The town will involve itself during condemnation proceedings. If a house is condemned by the building official and it's either torn down by the town or burned down, the town will involve itself in the cleanup. And then the last paragraph is, if it is not a condemned property, the property owner can still enter into an indemnity agreement and have the property burned. The town doesn't enter into indemnity agreements to do something that the private sector can do, to tear something down that's not condemned, okay?
Very good.
And these are two additions that Tessie added to our policy.
Will this be adopted tonight?
We'd love for you to.
Okay, that need to be, it's an amendment or it's just a policy? It's
This
not
is
a
a new policy
new policy.
altogether. It just codifies
Not a
what
word.
we've been
Yeah, we've
doing.
been doing it.
Right.
Correct.
This is just codifying, putting in writing that which we have done since, I know since Mr. Van Norbeck's gotten here and maybe a little bit before, but how many, whether by fire or demolition, how many dilapidated structures have we gotten rid of?
21 last time.
21 in the last, since 2011. That's
Kind of two more that I can think of right
not
now.
bad. A lot of towns aren't getting anywhere near that done. Daphne Cole, briefly.
Yes, I just wanted to compliment Mr. Van Overbrook on that very topic. You know, we don't have that blight that you see going in and out of town, so that, you know, we can be proud of it, so I'm really pleased with that. And also, I wanted to mention with the Special Olympics for Heritage Hall, just to remind them that there is a state law against releasing balloons. Any more than 50 balloons per hour is against the law.
But they don't release them at Heritage Hall, I'm pretty sure. They hold them sometimes, but I don't believe they're released. I don't,
Well, they showed them releasing.
you mean in
As
the
a-
past?
Yes, in the past.
Okay.
I want to make sure that,
See what I can do over there.
I know that's not going to be popular, but there is a law on the books.
You know, and I,
balloon counter, don't
Yeah.
well, but she's right. The wildlife, she is correct. The wildlife, we think it's yay, but it's hard for a lot of wildlife out there.
It goes straight up, and then in the case of the Mylars, they get caught in the electrical
Yep.
lines and they short it out. And today, I should have brought it with me because I could see in the corner of my lot, there was a purple star out in the woods on the side. So close to the power lines. So people think it's, it's a nice thing, and it does seem nice, and it is pretty. The ones where they do the candle and it goes up. Well, those things do pollute the water. They do pollute the streams in the area. People saying, oh, it's the bay. It's not just the bay. It's around here with the farms. So. You can purchase things that look like balloons, and they just don't go up in the air, so.
Let me see if I can get this motion. Is there a motion on the, thank you, Ms. Cole, I'm sorry. Ms. Thompson's moved to approve the burn policy, the demolition policy. Mr. Nash is seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. We've had hardly any roll call votes tonight. South Main Street revenue share. And this is for, we've got a grant to improve drainage and sidewalks between Bagley and 6th Street on South Main.
Plan would be a full repaving, both lanes and the center lane of South Main Street. And it does include the reduction in width of the center lanes by about 2.5 feet. So if we have some questions at the street committee level, if we want to talk about that, it would widen the travel lanes,
Widen the travel lanes.
and narrow the center lane.
So that way you're not riding close to the sidewalk
Gonna undo that which Jack Hodge did proudly
Yeah.
and boldly, and we
Yeah.
all thought they were gonna be wrecks.
where your mirrors will knock the pedestrians.
So heads up, we can still talk about it, but
it's
here's the
tough,
project. We applied for a revenue sharing project, a 50-50 deal. The town's share is about $225,000, and the state share is about $225,000.
So this has been approved already, and what's the cost of the town gonna be?
$225.
Wow.
Money's already set aside. We have the
Okay.
cash set aside from our quarterly payments from VDOT and the cash that we set aside from VDOT now. We'd like to proceed on with bidding the project. I was gonna wait a little longer until we had Nottaway Avenue further along. But if I wait, boy, the asphalt looks really tough out
Okay.
there.
rough right now.
And I'm not gonna get it paved before whether, like authorization to enter into, accept sealed bids on the South Main Street Revenue Share Project Phase
And
2.
include in that motion authorization to accept the easements from property owners on the attached list.
So moved. All
Nash
those.
is moved. I'll give the second to Mr. Scott. I'll ask for a roll call vote because we're talking about almost $250,000, starting with Ms. Thompson.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Moving along, this next one could get a little, are we back, this is the Man Street screening behind the apartments. I understand we're gonna, the new proposal is 8.5 feet tall Leland cypresses.
Bushes, yeah. But I don't think he can necessarily buy them. I think it's 6.5 foot. Leland cypress that will grow. I'm not sure that the adjoining property owner is excited about that proposal, and I think that Mr. Walden, who is representing D. Duncanson, has asked to have a Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to modify the standard, and it is pretty nebulous.
He's correct, and Mr. Walden's correct, that, passing a motion contingent upon the approval of Mr. and Mrs. John Rutledge.
Of the neighbors, yeah.
Yeah, you need something more longer lasting than that.
I think we will have, as soon as Janet Benell is sworn in and certified, I think we will call a Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. It's an unfortunate situation, and I don't think that the neighbors are satisfied it's moving fast enough, but they have asked for a BZA, and I think if we go to ultimately become litigious on this matter, I think the BZA motion that stands is a little tough, and
Well,
I
let me
think we need to
ask you this.
clarify.
So at this point, there's no action from us.
No, this is informational.
But again, this is, I guess, a subjective question, but the way I read the motion made by the BZA, and I don't mean to beat it, because I know Mr. Duncan, I know this is a tough issue for both sides, he is not in compliance.
He's not,
He
that's
has not
correct.
been in compliance since October. Now, Mr. Walden's letter sort of cast stones at the town for why did y'all cut those trees down? But it wasn't that
Put them
simple.
at D's direction.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we got involved ourselves. I wish we hadn't. I certainly hold no ill will toward them. The guys are trying to help out a guy, and sadly, they cut down the screening.
But you think so council stays out, you're gonna request a BZA meeting?
We're getting ready to schedule one anytime.
Then I guess continue on. Burn building grant.
Attached for your consideration is a letter that has been prepared. We've been working with Mike Smith, and Dion may have something to add. Mike Smith being the training officer for the Blackstone Fire Department. As you know, we received some grant award for upgrading the burn building, but there was about $100,000 match, a $60,000 grant and a $100,000 match. I think Mike has modified some of the requests, and Jennifer has spoken with him as well. This is a letter asking that Nottoway County, Prince Edward County, and Dinwiddie County each equally share in the match for the grant, which has been greatly reduced. It's not $100,000. I think the total project now was $73,000,
Has Chief seen the sample letter? Is Chief Tomer, you okay with it?
and I think we're asking that it come from the mayor because it may have more.
Yeah. I'd welcome a vote. I like-
So you're asking it from the counties, not from
From the counties.
Blackstone?
Right.
Or,
Which is that's consistent with how the burn building was established in '06, I believe. There was contributions from area counties.
do we see that we'll have any blowback from the other localities?
I mean, can't say whatever.
I doubt it.
Gonna say, but
I don't think so. Dinwiddie, I guarantee will support it.
I think with Prince Edward would, I think Nottoway would probably be the
one.
toughest one. You're out of budget and after, period, so I think it may take some discussion with the county, here in Nottoway. We're asking authorization for the mayor to sign the letter.
So moved.
Mr. Nash has moved, Mr. Scott has seconded. All in favor say aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. This is one that I'll write real quick because it's already written. Ongoing projects, dilapidated buildings, 214 Maven Avenue. The packet says Mr. Samuel Allen. Is that Harrison Allen? Or
I
his,
think his name is Samuel Allen.
but
Is that the same guy? I don't know, maybe historically.
one is a cook and one is the father of the cook.
Yes.
This is okay, just want to make sure.
I think there's some relation.
Right, okay, so this is not the chef at the corner
It
kitchen.
is
This is-
not the chef at the corner kitchen.
He wants more time before
He said,
condemnation.
he stated that he'll be out of town during the month of March, or excuse me, the month of May, and he asked that the court give him an extension for that reason. And he did not receive the notices that we're obliged to send to property owners. He said he didn't receive them. They were sent to an address where he wasn't currently residing.
How many years has this property been sitting as
Oh,
it is?
dreadful. It's probably been
Me,
2
I
years,
mean-
but it's only been condemned for about 6
Yeah, I know,
months.
but
It's got a tree growing out of the front porch. It's a negligent property and a negligent property owner, and, you know, we feel that way, and we hope that the judge will concur.
If you had your druthers, you want to proceed, you want to hold off another month? If you had your
Well,
druthers.
I've told Tessie to if the judge grants the extension, I mean, it's up to the court to
Up to the court,
grant it.
okay.
So, heads up, that is one
This
of
is
the
just
properties.
information. This is just information.
Informational, and then we have another property. The property owners have been very kind on Main Street, believe it or not. You wouldn't notice it, but there's one in the woods there that we'll be working on trying to
Okay.
get down.
Close to the side of the road, isn't it?
Real close to the side of the road. Yeah.
I understand we only have the one restaurant that's behind, that's Huddle House on Meals Tax, which has been that way for a while. Nothing to report on street improvements, Church Street, project number 4. Mr. Morbeck.
I think it'll be informational and important. On Thursday at 11 o'clock, we're going to have a management team meeting and a rehab board meeting for the Church Street project. We're also going to slip in something for the East End project, but we're also going to slip in some information for weatherization project.
Okay.
Okay?
You said 11 o'clock. This flyer says 1 to 3.
I think that the actual management team meeting is Thursday at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
These are attention property owners. We're trying to get more people to participate in the program and that people will be available. The actual management team meetings will be held from 11 till 1 o'clock, I guess.
Okay. Very good.
11 a week.
1 to 3. All right. That will be at Town Hall, here in Town Hall.
In this room.
All right. Wrigglesworth Stadium Sports Complex. The second basketball court.
Opened the bids last week. You would email me with some curiosity about what the schools were going to do.
And I meant to tell you, the school board, and I should have told you this, the school board voted unanimously without any trepidation to approve the location this council has approved, right beside,
Good deal.
to the south end, adjacent to the existing basketball court.
And we opened sealed bids on May 11th at 3 o'clock, and S. Walker Construction, local contractor, was significantly lower than Townsend and Son Bulldozing.
Wow, so, I mean, $30,000. Wow, so much.
What
I mean, Jason did it last
Smart
time for a
businessman.
little less than this.
Did for 24 last time.
That's what I was gonna ask.
But hello, that was 3 years ago too, wasn't it? When did the basketball court open? Summer of 15,
So,
2 years ago.
Now, not this past Saturday, but Saturday before last,
Must
it
have.
was after we had a decent amount of rain, and the parking over there was full, using where this new basketball court's gonna go, and they were even down in the field. So we need to put as many millings and whatever possible,
You're right
as soon
about
as
that.
possible, down there.
well, we're gonna scoop up everything that's there and move
Take it
that
down,
down the
okay.
hill. We've got a big pile of millings already stored. We just need to start hauling
Yeah,
them
we
and
can
putting
start
them in and doing stuff. But these street projects that we've got forthcoming, we're gonna have a appreciable amount of millings coming.
What was S. Walker doing on Bird Road today? That pipe we put
There are
in?
2 driveways that have been, we've been waiting on. One of them belonged to Doug Colburn that we tore up when we brought an ambulance.
Look at
in
me,
there.
I'm not building, I'm building.
Doug Colburn. And the other one was Bonnie
I've heard of
Kravitz.
him.
Driveway. If you remember when we did that project, we tore up a driveway. I brought Colony Construction in last week, who are our neighbors, to take a look at those 2 projects. And they said they did not want to bring their big equipment all the way down to the end of college. And we owe these folks where we busted the driveways up.
Yeah.
And we owe it to them, but they said, man, please find somebody else. We don't want to do this. And we already had a concrete bid with Jason, so it had been bid out. And I brought Jason, we met with Bonnie, and I notified the mayor so there wasn't any uncomfortableness. But we went over there with a fire truck one day and really gobbled it up pretty good. And we tore up Bonnie driveway when we were doing that Bird Road project.
Mr. Miller,
I had a question. Now, okay, the parking, the handicap is clean. Got no problem with it. But are we gonna enforce this when you practice it or just when we got events?
I have informed the manager of, I guess you'd say, my dissatisfaction of when we voted 7-0 of no action taken over there. So, and I think it had come down to the fact that we did receive a grant that you see in the budget for $280,000, $260,000, that all that will be redone and curbed and guttered, but I would like to see it prior to that, at least a temporary fix to it.
Now, see, the reason why I'm asking this question, you know why I'm asking it. Because right now, you know, anybody's parking where they want. Now, my thing is, I understand that if it's, say like for You know, when you got a game or you got a tournament or something. But my thing is, we gotta be, you know, if we're gonna do it always, we need to do it always, we need to do it now.
I agree.
Let me make sure I follow this. You should never park in a handicapped parking space unless you're handicapped.
Across from the handicap spaces.
yeah.
The council had voted to do it, and just within the past few weeks, and respectfully to Eric, he knows the deal. We've been trying to get the entrance fixed up. Eric wanted to, and there'd been a vote to put in a series of poles or something to keep people from parking across the way on the Birch Street side.
That's right, I do remember that.
But the
Voted
problem
on
is,
site, 7-0.
if we don't do something on the Birch Street side, people just pulling from that side. So what we're trying to do is, and it's probably gonna be longer than we would all like, but we can put up some no parking signs or posts or something like that. And something very temporary, because I think a permanent fix.
I mean, I just noticed trucks were parking in the mud and stuff that
Terrible
day,
when
and
it
it's
was wet
just,
last week.
to me, it's just senseless.
My thing is, the reason why I'm saying is because you don't want this to happen. And then, you know, because really, you putting the policeman in the jail, and you putting yourself in the jail.
Well, I think the council has spoken through a 7-0 motion.
But it needs, either we're gonna enforce it all the time, or we're gonna enforce it for tournaments and stuff.
Well, also, you're gonna have 14 teams here the last week of June for the Bells and the Darlings tournament. That's gonna be, those first 3 days are gonna be crazy. Good points all.
Can't you get some old telephone poles and put up
That's
there?
what you all voted to do.
Get some of those railroad ties over there, they're not looking.
I mean, the only thing I'm saying, I mean, you know, we need to enforce it before somebody takes this thing the wrong way and say you're picking at people.
Oh, I know.
You know, this is all.
Are you talking about the parking in the handicap
I'm
spots?
talking in the handicap.
I reckon you guys can enforce that now, can't you?
Yeah, it's a municipal property, you can enforce that, you can enforce that.
Because the handicap is only on the one side,
Right.
so they can see it now.
I'd like to see.
I guess the question that Eric has is across the real muddy mess on the other side,
Right.
and we need to keep
Yeah,
people from parking.
what I'm saying is we need to get it all together.
Sure.
Well,
before it goes.
You hear it from me, and I don't know how the council feels, but I think we should immediately proceed on with how the council voted 7-0 while we were on
On
site,
April 17th is when the vote was.
and not wait until we do the,
Appreciate it,
so just do it
appreciate it.
temporary.
He'll have to be temporary, because I think we've
That's
got
fine,
some
that's
plans
fine.
coming.
Well,
And-
Ben had even mentioned in buildings and property, I'd heard that we may possibly move the playground to the outside of that fence, which would be a safe area and be nice. So, I mean, you don't want to do anything permanent for good, but I think Sam mentioned as well.
But we gotta do it on
ground.
both sides, otherwise everybody's just gonna
I
come
agree.
on Birch Street, and whether that's poles or just signs or something's gotta be done on both sides.
Something could be done about parking the whole town, handicap parking. Somebody fixing that painted, that signs on it, come over.
You're talking about more signage for handicap spaces? They should be striped and with the sign.
The ones that are there, not like one of the couple stores, you can't tell that ain't parking.
Could we ask the town street department, just take a look and make sure the paint's not fading on some of these handicap
I
spots?
think he's saying you
Yeah, I
can't
don't
see.
just.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right.
We've got, some new employees that we advertise, summer help.
Yeah, that'd be a great thing for them to do.
Summer help job.
I need a motion to accept the low bid for the basketball court. Mr. Nash has moved and Mr. Moncur has seconded. This is a low bid of $29,000 to Sarah Walker Construction. A roll call vote, starting with Ms. Thompson.
Aye.
That motion carries
When's
7-0.
expected start date?
I don't know. I would say probably in the next couple of weeks.
And the goals have to be, the goals
Those
are
are
separate.
bought and purchased, and in fact, I put them on the credit card, the town's credit card, and we got jammed up because
Mail
it exceeded
council and
limit.
Let us know a date.
Yeah, I can ask
Do not
Jason.
Push on Walker to get that done. I think we need to
Get it
expedite
behind us.
Sure.
You're good. Just for the record, since the name of my father was uttered here, in January of 2016, there was a fire call to my parents' house for carbon monoxide. A fire truck was stuck in the snow. Efforts to remove the truck by the town resulted in destruction of the driveway, and the town is going to fix a small corner of it. I just want to get that on the record.
Surprised
Doug Holborn is
y'all
my father.
Surprised y'all waited
We
this
do
long.
not live at the same address. All right. Moving right along here, East End Planning Grant. That's
Nothing
been covered.
formal to report.
Nottaway Avenue revenue share project's going very well, looks like.
Yucky weather, but they're almost at the town limits. completed to the town limit, so there's still stuff
Yep.
to go, but
Think about this in the summer. If you think it's corny, maybe not. It may not be the worst thing in the world to have maybe a ribbon cutting going. It's the first revenue sharing. It was there's a lot of community concern about that road. Just a thought. If y'all
Are
don't
the
like
police
it,
planning on doing their community cookouts by any chance this year?
it'd be a great place to have.
I mean, that could be incorporated in it.
That'd be about the right time too. September is when they did it. All right, just keep that in mind. If it doesn't work out, all right, we're gonna pay cash for a bucket truck. Mr. Van Norbeck.
bucket truck, we have dutifully put our cash aside during the course of the year. We typically budget about $140,000 for capital items. We had worked this year to start paying to replace the switch gear, if you remember at the generators. And sadly, the bid was way higher. When we bid it out one time, we were expecting a bid of about 125 to 140. Two bids came in, and both of them were over 285. So we had started putting money aside for that project. However, one of our bucket trucks, a 14-year-old bucket truck that we expected to replace next year on a 15-year rotation, died on us. Mr. Jones, I believe is the name, from repair shop up on 606, came and looked at the truck, and his estimation was between $15,000 and $20,000 as it was reported. Even if it's on the low side on the 15,000, I still don't think it's a good investment because we intend on getting rid of the truck. This is already bid out. It's on a procurement program. I believe it's called NJPA. I checked with the city of Franklin, and they use them on a regular basis. We are a member of the procurement group. The truck price is $178, I believe, and it's with Altech. And I am asking council to authorize execution and award. We have one bucket truck, and Dan is keenly interested in seeing a second bucket truck. For safety purposes, we have borrowed a loaner, and if you've noticed, there's a smaller bucket truck with a 40-foot boom. That's a loaner right now from Altech, and I asked Dan, I said, you want switch gears or you want a truck? He said, I need a truck. I need a second bucket truck.
So when this is purchased, if council decides to purchase, we only have 2 bucket trucks?
That's all you have.
For our 6-member electrical crew?
You got to
Wow, I thought
remember,
we had like
you've got
3.
2 men on each truck.
Right.
You got Dan, and you got a service truck. And this is the guy that cuts off power and goes and does all those the guy that everybody likes to see come by, puts the pink slips and all those kind of things. So those are our 6 guys, and we keep 2 on each truck, and we have a third truck that may be mistaken for a bucket truck. It's called a digger derrick, and that's what they dig the light poles with. And put Eric's telephone poles over at the park.
These funds will come from where? The electrical fund, electrical department?
They'll come from capital improvement funds that we have set aside.
Very good. So we're not going into the $1 million general fund. Very
Cash.
good.
I know this may sound like a dumb question, but the truck that we have had on loan from Altech, is that not an option for us?
It's a smaller truck. It's only a 40-foot boom. They didn't have a full-size truck. And so if you see the cable company out here with one of these smaller bucket trucks, it's like that. That's what we've been using for about 2 weeks now.
Mr. Council, what's your pleasure? It's a testament to the
Move to
staff,
approve and
the budget committee, we can do this.
go ahead and purchase.
Mr. Nash has moved to purchase, and Mr. Tucker has seconded. Any further discussion?
Will we auction off the old one?
Yeah, it's not running. So we can auction it off here, or Altech has an auction company down in North Carolina that they use periodically. Maybe Gov Deals is a solution, but she's not running, so we're probably not going to. But I can tell you, we auctioned off bucket trucks at our last auction here, and we only got like $5,000 for them. So,
Check our options.
yeah, I think Gov Deals may be a good solution, and see if Dion can coach us through that.
All right. I'll ask for a roll call vote, starting with President Thompson.
Aye.
The motion carries 7-0. Moving right along, we've taken care of the budget, new business number 2. All right, now, delinquent business licenses, there are 3 businesses, I'm not gonna say them out loud, that are delinquent on their business license. What do we normally do on this situation?
One paid today,
Which one, number 1, 2, or 3? Number 2 paid, okay.
number 3, her door was in the car.
Correct,
And
okay,
number 1, maybe out of business.
okay, all right, very good. Okay, I guess we don't need any action, do you wish to?
Notification.
Notification, okay, very good. That's not bad. How many business licenses do we issue?
When's the due date for those? Isn't it March 31st? March 2nd? So the third one really has no excuse. I mean, she was late anyway.
True.
There's like a line on them.
Oh, I'm sure.
Last week, when I called and told them they didn't list, that they did any of them, they didn't come up.
When you mention list, it probably makes a lot of people bring a check.
The next item, Mr. Green has asked all of us to look at our schedule and discuss in June the possibility of changing the July council meeting from the 17th to 24th. That's just informational. The next item, new business number 5, is a DEQ litter grant.
So are we gonna do that or not?
We're gonna all look at our calendars in June. We're gonna decide whether to have the July meeting on the 17th or the 24th. The litter control grant, I hope is to put a bounty on people who are caught littering, because I'll tell you right now,
Oh, I love it.
it's,
Tremendous.
and I see some volunteers who brave the elements.
On our corner, it's constant.
It's a nonstop battle. What do you have for us, Mr. Monroe?
This item is the result of a extremely active new community development director. This is a grant application that she needs to submit, and we'd like to get in the practice of asking council's authorization to apply for grants. It is every year, and it's approximately the same amount. We're asking authorization to apply.
Mr.
So moved.
Mr. Nash has moved, Mr. Scott has seconded to authorize approval of submitting the grant application. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
We typically use trash can,
We
this
buy
garbage cans and stuff
the
like that.
middle garbage cans we bought at the ball field and the basketball court. That's where that money came from.
Gotcha.
New business number 6, this is about the rehab board to consider what homes to weatherize. Is that right?
That is correct. We have a couple issues, and one of those, and nothing bad, these are all good solutions or good problems to have. The town of Blackstone, with the treasurer's help, has done a superb job in ensuring that all property owners who have received benefits through our DHCD efforts are making payments or have satisfied the deeds of trust that are recorded on the house. We found several deeds of trust, sadly, that were in arrears. They are no longer in arrears, and Gwinnett has done an admirable job catching up. But what that has done for us is that's put a lot of cash into our program income line. And this is cash. This is not what the auditors tell us we're supposed to have. We set the cash aside as we're supposed to. And it's in excess of $100,000.
Beautiful.
Okay? So what we would like to do is not use that town $25,000 at this time, but we would like to proceed on because Earl Howerton and Arlene that work together did indicate because of some federal budget cuts, they were concerned that the DHCD folks at the state were going to start asking for program income back if it's not used. Okay? And we were supposed to be doing this for years. Okay? This should have been done. We're proposing to you tonight to take on at least 4 weatherization projects using the program income with the caveat that the state is satisfied with it. We're starting with you guys. We're going to go to our rehab board on the 11th, on Thursday at 11 o'clock. And then we will go to the Department of Housing and Community Development, make sure everything's satisfactory. But we have a list of weatherization applications, and we have made a recommendation of 4 houses. There may be a 5th house that you have in bold, but we still have some information. But we would like to take on those 4 properties and get them taken care of.
Do you feel, my only concern, I think this is wonderful, do we feel confident that the people that are in great need all have been made aware of this? And when they start fixing homes up, weatherizing, might there be someone that says, I didn't know anything about it?
Well, I hope not, but we've got this many applications.
Okay, so you have received it, okay, great,
We've got
okay.
in excess of 20 applications, and
Excellent.
Yvonne has really cranked up.
Just want to make sure we were
We're trying
inclusive,
to
good.
Follow the weatherization program design, which focuses on ownership over renting, okay? If you remember,
Yes.
we're gonna exhaust that first, not to say the renters won't be done.
Right.
But we're gonna exhaust the property owners that occupy the homes.
Yes.
And occupy those first and deal with those, and then we'll be moving on. But we need to use this money for its intended purpose.
It's not town coffers funds.
This is no cash of the town's coffers.
The beautiful thing about this money, this $102,000, the seeds that planted, that made this sum were for helping people, and now we're going to carry it out to a new level.
Take
I
a new,
move to
I love it. That's good.
approve on this level and make sure the state approves, and then if so, we'll proceed on.
Second.
Motion's been made by Mr. Nash, seconded by Mr. Green. I will ask for a roll call vote just because of the dollar values involved. Roll call vote. Motion carries 7-0. Committee referrals, I see no requests. I would like to, committee referrals, nothing. Under mayor's minute, I would just ask if we could, I know one of them is our property, one of them, they're both our properties. Little extra TLC at the medical center in Swartz Tavern. I know Walter Mack has a cruise incoming, and I think the bids on the medical center expire in July. And that's I know it's rained a lot, but
no excuse.
it's, yeah. I've had a lot of people call me about those 2 properties.
Can we also look at Cottage Road? Because we've got some major potholes.
Yeah.
Cottage Road or College Road?
Northwest Avenue.
Northwest.
Northwest
It's
Avenue.
scheduled for patching job. But in the meantime, I drove over it with the school bus. And I think it's in need of
You
some.
rode over it with the school. You didn't drive.
I did not drive.
It moves straight.
That's from September,
But yes, potholes galore on that route.
and now that they got the bridge closed, it's gonna get worse.
Under police report, you have the list of charges and summaries. Any questions of our officers that are here? Keep up the good work, guys. As I said earlier, not to tease anybody, but we do have a very significant closed session tonight. It is for economic development. I would argue we could probably lawfully, much of it probably does not need to be discussed in closed session, but I don't mind telling you it's about, if it's about the same thing, I believe it's a request from the Nottaway County to discuss possible water and sewer for their lot out there beside the bowling alley. There's some factors that as someone who believes in transparency, I want you to know what we're talking about, but I do believe there needs to be some discussion privately, which is permissible under the state code. And I think maybe after that, at a later date, there'll be some public discussion about our options, and it's something that could be very positive, but certainly whatever happens, the future of Blackstone will be impacted in some way or another in the next few months. So at this time, unless anyone else, well, before we go into closed session, anyone who'd like to address council a second time, I see Colonel Tom Wilkinson.
I want to apologize for being late getting here. I was engaged in some other activities, but I apologize to Councilman Green that I missed your comments about DBI.
Yes.
But I understand that there was a comment made that an $18,000 cut due to the differences in other communities. And I just want to, based on Tori McGowan, who is the community revitalization specialist at VMS, got an email from him today, and Farmville received $60,000 from the town and an additional $10,500 from their county. Hopewell gets $70,000 toward their Main Street program, and even the small town of Franklin, which has a population of 8,000, receives $55,000 from the city, and they get an additional $55,000 from the historic district tax, much like our meals tax.
Historic
so they
district
all
tax.
get a lot more than we get.
Okay, very good, very good.
Now I'd like to change gears to my Rotary side. Just want to let you all know, we put in for a grant, Vicki Buckley, who is our incoming president, we just applied for a grant this past week to provide a bus stop shelter for the town. So, and I'd coordinated that with Philip, and we're working on that. It hasn't been approved yet, but we think we'll probably get it. So, and we're going to go off of Philip and the town's recommendation on where they want to put it.
Josh, I think, has given some ideas to Mr. Hasbrook about
Yes.
how much and where.
I think
And
the Cole
Look
Harbor
hard,
area.
look hard also at Clay's Retirement Village or the assisted living. I know that
the bench out there, sure. I think we talked about the one at Cole Harbor,
Right.
and there may be some other locations.
So the grant is just $5,000, so really that's only going to get one bus shelter.
One at a
But
time.
this is something we may be able to do, you know, and we're trying to instill other folks to get involved with it too. So we might find other people. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Rotarians. Thank you especially for picking up the trash, picking up our Pride Day.
While they're discussing that, when will we know about that grant possibly?
Probably, it'll be before I report to
So, my point is, if we're talking Cole Harbor, the people that are putting sidewalks down there, hey, that's good community effort if they want to put a concrete slab in for where that spot would go.
Trade of some sort, yeah.
So, while they're out there working,
They have some
they
extra.
could save some money.
We have surplus material.
It runs down there currently, doesn't it?
No.
Not all the way to Cole Harbor. We could adjust routes or whatever. I mean,
Anyone else address council before we go in closed session for economic development and only economic development? Anyone else? Any members of council have anything they wish? See Mr. Bagley. Yes, sir. Michael Bagley.
A little clearer, earlier,
Yes, sir.
was it stated that there be no porta potties in downtown or no portable bathrooms or public bathrooms?
I believe, what I recall
no
is
brick and mortar.
the request of, I believe Ms. Carolyn Davis made the request among some other people. Bob Hinkle made it years ago, public restrooms downtown, which would be like basically, I interpret that to be a permanent type building. And the recommendation and the vote by council was no, not at this time. Well, we do, and It's been a. All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session for economic development. Mr. Mike has moved, Ms. Thompson has seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank y'all for coming tonight.
Who's supposed to keep them clean?
Go, Jennifer.
That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.